Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jose Reyes. Today is September 27th, about 9:45 p.m. So, kind of got a lot of information to go over, so I'm just going to dive right into it. Um, if I had my own company, I would use Weber's theory of bureaucracy. Now, I say this because in the past, I've actually worked for several different companies, and I've witnessed the theories firsthand. Just like in the book, I actually worked in a call center in the past, and there was a focus on not me as an employee, but the task. So every call I took was recorded. Every call I took had, all the time I used was averaged and it was reviewed to see what kind of words I said, my tone, everything was monitored, and there was literally a number for everything I did. And at the end of the day, that rated me as an employee. So I feel like I wasn't looked at as a person, but based on my numbers. So based on those numbers, that's how you could move ahead in the company. That's how you could have a better schedule. And personally, I feel that's not the way to run a company. So in this new company that I'm at, where I'm very happy, there's an open flow of communication between me and my manager. Um, Everything we do has to be done by a procedure. So there is a procedure for everything that we do. There's rules and guidelines to all the things that we do throughout the day. But we also have an open line of communication with our manager. So if I have any questions, not only about my work, but about anything else and why it's done that way, I can always go to my manager. And I feel that if I ran my own company, I would want my employees to have that trust and that faith to just say, hey, I have a question. Can you help me with this? So, in reading the article about the pregnancy, I thought it was very interesting because I look at it in two ways. I look at it in the way that she's a CEO of the company and she has to lead by example. So the CEO pretty much is in charge of everything and they want all the workers to be responsible for their work and work as hard as possible, make sure revenues are going strong. So that's her point of view. She has to be ready to go back to work as soon as possible. Now, at the same time, we have to look at it as an employee. And as a person, you have to be able to use that work life balance and say, hey, I have to stay home. I have to take care of my kids. I just went through a pregnancy. So maybe I need more than 14 days. So I can't really say, she was right for doing that from a employee and from a person standpoint. But from the CEO and a business standpoint, I do see what I can't see why she would do that. Now, I also looked at the humor articles, which I thought was really interesting as well because a lot of times at work, if so at work you spend more time than you would at home. So it's important that you're comfortable, and I mean you're still getting your work done, but it's important that you feel well and you have a good relationship with not only your manager but the people that you work with. So humor can actually help you build that rapport and that relationship with your coworkers to a certain extent because you don't want to get too comfortable because remember you're still at work, but it is very important to have that flow and that relationship with your coworkers. Um, we also looked at the systems theory, which I thought was very interesting because the main thing I took away from this chapter is that organizations have to be viewed as an organism. So each pretty much means that there is no specific answer for the troubles that happen at work. Everything is very complex, and you can't just view it as this problem requires this answer or there's an exact solution to this. Everything is complex. Everything has different steps. So that's how you kind of have to tackle problems at work with an open mind and an outside the box mentality. Also, let's see here. Sorry, I've got everything written down, so I'm kind of going off of that. Um, let's see here. Okay, so I looked at an organization that had some troubles very recently, and how did they handle it? So the company that I looked into was a pharmaceutical company called Turing, which has recently been in the news a lot because they had a pill named Daraprim, Daraprim, which was at a price of $13.50. So that drug was actually raised to from $13.50 per pill to $750 per pill. Um, the company's reasoning was that the drug was, that they had to make a profit, and that the drug was so scarcely used that that increase wouldn't affect anybody, or wouldn't make that huge of an effect. Um, so there was huge backlash from this happening, and even recently, the CEO. It looks like there's some news coming out that he is going to be removed from his position. So we'll see how that happens, or how that plays out. So culture. The culture of a company, kind of like they said in the book, moving into an organization, the culture kind of deals with how you interact with your coworkers and the overall mood of the company. Um, that plays a huge part in how employees view their work and how satisfied they are as well. Um, I, for example, work for Wells Fargo, which I would describe as a very progressive culture. We are very, like, for example, one thing I looked at, one specific example, is in filling out that our benefits for the year. I saw that you can enroll your spouse, and that also applies to same-sex spouses. So I thought that was very progressive, and it really talks about what kind of culture Wells Fargo is. That in 2015, when there's so much controversy about same-sex marriage and benefits, that Wells Fargo would be open to enrolling same-sex spouses. Same-sex spouses. As far as the culture at UHD, I think it is very diverse in its culture, and you see that in its students as well as its teachers. Um, you see every nationality, you see everyone represented equally at UHD. So, I hope you enjoyed my video, and feel free to comment in the response section. Thanks. Bye bye.